going on, everyone? I'm Daryl Lecklin here with Motocross Action Magazine. We're out here for the 2018 and a half KTM 450SXF Factory Editions. With us today is Casey Lytle. He's head of the R&D operations over at KTM. We brought him over here to kind of chat with him, going over the development of the new bike. It's been almost 2 years, Casey, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the process and like where you guys started and where you guys are now.
Well, basically a couple of years ago, they started on, working on little parts, working on exhaust, working on chassis. There's a lot of stuff that gets changed along the way. A lot of stuff that start heading a direction, but then maybe doesn't work out in the end, and they kind of start over. But they work on points, radiator positioning. A couple of years ago, we were working on ergonomics. How the shrouds feel when you put your leg over the top. Working on different seats.
So let me ask you this: what were your guys' goals coming into this new bike?
I think chassis, trying to improve the chassis more.
Okay.
Trying to see if there's points that were missed. Trying to improve on how the bike feels in between your legs when you get your leg out over the shroud. The more you start focusing on stuff, the more you realize that maybe stuff could be improved.
I see. And what was the biggest challenge of this new bike really making the way you guys wanted it to do?
I think trying to get everything they could in. I know they wanted to improve the chassis. There was a couple different chassis that they worked on.
Yeah.
There was trying to get it lighter again. I mean, they took some weight out of the head. Changing the stiffness of the triple clamp, that's been in the works for a little while, and I think overall just to make a better bike and to keep improving.
Yeah. So Tom Moe was saying you guys actually went softer and stiffer at the same time.
Yep.
How do you achieve that balance?
I think it's they play with what he said, the triangles a lot, the gusseting, the cross bracing, and I think a lot of it's they worked on a lot of friction. Looked at a lot of friction stuff with the suspension.
Okay.
The top triple clamp made a pretty good difference.
Yep.
There's a lot of little things that add up to make a big difference in the end.
I see. And then as far as the engine's concerned, it looks really more compact,
Yep.
And I know in the past, I know you guys always had the lightest bike.
Yep.
But for me as a jumper, it never felt like the lightest bike in the air.
Yep.
And I know talking to some people that was kind of like your guys' overall goal to make that have that feeling.
Yep.
How do you guys achieve that?
Yeah, I think when you start moving the cams down and moving everything toward the center and lower, I think that gives it a lighter feel overall.
Okay.
I think they moved the exhaust. They tried to move the exhaust forward more. It's a longer can, and something that a lot of people wanted is now you can get the exhaust off without having to take the shock off.
Well, yeah,
which is
yeah, it actually has a bit pipe now. Which,
yeah.
I mean that's a huge thing. I mean, every bike we complained about it, and we actually cut our own and made it fit. So obviously that helped a lot.
There's a lot of stuff like they moved a lot of the electronics into the airbox. Everything, the condenser, everything is in the airbox now. The rectifier regulator is in the airbox now. So everything's kind of centralized, easy to get to. I think overall comfort, ergonomics, everything's gonna be improved. I think everybody should be pretty happy.
Yeah. So you have your team here in the USA. So
Yep.
how does that really work? Does Austria guys send you stuff? You guys get feedback and then they design stuff? Like how does that all system work?
It's a combination. They work on a lot of stuff there when they feel like they're getting to a spot where they need to. We try, so they'll send it over here. We'll try. We'll give feedback. We do take usually 1 or 2 trips a year over to Austria, Austria or Italy or Spain or wherever. Yeah, early if it's early months like beginning of the year, then we should go to Spain or Italy because the weather's better there.
Okay.
And then later in the year we'll stick around Austria or sometimes Italy and so on. And then they come over here for a couple weeks out of the year too.
So you guys kind of work as one, like you guys try something, this works, and then they try something that works, and you guys kind of test both, right? Because the Europeans have a different kind of, I guess, what they like, and you guys have.
Yeah, and for that, the most part, we all agree on the same hardware stuff. I mean, it's not a big difference. Mainly, the only difference is suspension. Even when they come over here, I feel like our settings work good here, and their settings work good there. But it never seems like their setting works good here or our setting doesn't work.
For sure. So, not talking about suspension, it's kind of crazy that You guys were the last to the air fork market.
Yep.
And now all the Japanese manufacturers switched back to pretty much the spring fork, and you guys have stuck to the air fork design.
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Like,
yeah, I mean, I think they've done a lot of work on the air fork, and it continues to get better. Even on this bike, they've reduced the rebound volume by about 50%. They're changed up the grease they're using in it. They found a better grease. We got new mid-valve pistons, new supplier.
Yep.
The shock has a new piston, all new settings, and man, it keeps getting better. The air fork keeps getting better, and I think they've done a good job of continuing to try to move forward and make each year better than the last.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think 2016 you guys came out with the new models and they had the 4CS forks on there, and
yep.
I was like, these things are horrible. And then the very next year you guys came out with like the air fork, and it was just amazing, the transition you guys made. So it's cool to see that with KTM. You guys are always progressing.
Yep.
And stuff like that. So other than that, I think that's about it. You have anything else to add about the bike or anything?
No, I think I'm excited for everybody to ride it and see what we how we did.
Cool. Well, we get the bike in about, I think, 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
Yep.
And then we'll get back to you with a full overall ride test with the 2018 and a half factory edition 450SXF.